us. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Joey?
I already did, you missed it.
I did?
Yeah.
You did? Did you tell him you were running for president?
No. I'm not campaigning, just go to my site and make sure.
I thought you'd be good at stump speech. Okay, we've been talking a little bit about soulmates, what a soulmate is. And the main point we covered was that anybody can be a soulmate and you can fall in love with anybody. There's two basic types of love. One is spiritual love, the other is romantic love. What's the difference between the two? There's in the equation. But you can have sex without having either romantic or spiritual love. Just for the control of it.
I know. Melva says there is no difference.
I did not say that. I don't know.
Okay, let's talk about one of the differences between the two types of love. Spiritual love embraces several different levels, kind of, but if you are in love with a person romantically, and you have a friend that says, well, can I borrow your woman for a few days so I can just kick around with her and, do the thing with her, and everything? And you think, wow, no, I'm not in here. Do you think I'm crazy? Of course you can't have my wife, girlfriend, or whatever. On the other hand, if you have a secretary and you really like the secretary, you think she's wonderful, and you have a friend that says, can I borrow your secretary for a day so she can do typing and stuff for me? Sure, no problem. Now, why is there a problem with one and not the other?
It's a sharing of an energy that...
It's the intent.
I think the intimacy.
Even the most hard-nosed liberal person that thinks, yeah, I'm free and loose and everything, and he would have reservations about letting his girlfriend or wife be borrowed by somebody to have sex with him, right? And to bring the guy pleasure. He would have reservations about that. Even the most liberal person. Even the most unreligious person has a problem with this. Why is there a big problem with, well, why not just, well, he's my best friend, why not let him just have my woman and play around with her a few days and bring her back just as good as she was before, maybe more experienced? Yeah, well, why not? What's the reasoning behind this?
She doesn't want to.
Yeah.
You've told us in the past that we have like this unit of romantic energy and that we share it 100% with the person that we're involved with. And if you take some of that energy away, and that's what would happen, if the husband said, okay, take my wife, she would take some of her energy away from him and give it to her borrowed partner. Does that have something to do with it?
Right, with romantic energy, we have one unit of romantic energy. One unit. And to be fulfilled, each person must maintain one unit of the romantic energy. If you have less than one unit, you'll feel off balance. Now with spiritual energy, it's different because it flows through everything. And with spiritual energy that's going through your secretary, you like your secretary, you appreciate her on a higher, non-physical, non-emotional level. You can share her and it's no big deal because you're not losing any energy. Because the mental, the higher energy is always there, you always got 100% of it. So you never lose anything when you loan your secretary. There's nothing to lose. But when you loan your girlfriend, your wife, to your best friend, you have something to lose. Now, it's interesting, we covered this a little bit in the first gathering. I didn't realize that when I said we were going to cover it in this one, so we'll try to cover it with a little bit additional light and information, so we're not repeating ourselves. But it has been 5 years ago since we talked about this. But each person has one unit of romantic energy. Now here's the way it works. If you're single and have one unit and don't have any relationships with the opposing energy, which if you're a male would be the female energy. you have no relationship going on, you keep that one unit within yourself. It's all there, so you feel okay. You know, you may feel like you had a relationship in your life, but not for lack of energy. You have the one unit just floating around within you. Then you meet somebody, and you really think, oh man, I really like this gal. So you give her half of your energy, and if she gives half of her energy back to you, then both of you still have one unit of energy. But what happens, you really meet somebody you like, you give her 70% of her energy, she just thinks you're okay, but not that great. And so she only gives you 30% of her energy. Then is something off balance? Right. You're giving 70% of your energy and getting 30% back. You got a 40% deficiency just going into the universe. So you're feeling off balance. This turns you into fatal attraction. You follow her around and like, I want more, you know, let's go out more together, let's do this more. And she's thinking, back off, you're too strong to me. And she goes down to 15% of her energy that she's giving to you. But she's okay. You're getting 70%, you're throwing at her, but she's only giving you 30%, so she can only take into her. And then you got 40% going out in the universe. So she's okay, she's still at 100%, so she feels balanced. She just thinks something's weird with you. So, but you're throwing out 70%, getting 30 back, you're missing 40% of your energy, and you really feel unstable. So this turns you into kind of a wacko guy that could be a fatal attraction, could be somebody just follows around too much, gives her too many flowers, too many candies, too many dates, and pretty soon she either gets closer or she gets turned off. Now let's look what happens when a person has an affair. The two are happy together, they're sharing energy. The guy has this good-looking secretary, and she's just really nice to him, dresses nice, and he's attracted to her quite a bit. And he's leaking out about 20% of his energy to her. Well, the wife at home is giving 100% of her energy to him, but now she's only getting 80% back, so she's losing 20%. So she feels off balance 20%. So she'll say, something going on with that cute secretary you got there? You know, she'll be really suspicious, but not know exactly why. She'll feel bad about maybe asking. Because of course nothing's going on. I don't know, and maybe he's telling the truth. Except maybe the secretary is pulling the energy out of him. He's being extra nice, opening the doors for her, buying her presents. But then this leads to the wife being suspicious. She's feeling lack of energy. She's feeling out of balance. And he's telling her it's all in her head. You're crazy because secretary is just a secretary. It's all business. And the more she puts pressure on him and brings this up, the more he gets turned off. Pretty soon he's giving 30% to the secretary. And then he says, well, why don't you and me go to shotgun a lunch every day? So he takes her to lunch and starts getting a little closer. And she tells him all kinds of intimate details to him, and it gets closer, and then pretty soon he has an affair with her, and all of a sudden he's giving the secretary 80% and the wife only 20%. Now the wife is about going crazy. He's denying it all. He's telling her, no, nothing's going on, I'm not having an affair, just quit bugging me, you're creating the big problem, it's all your fault, it's in your head. But she knows it's driving her crazy because she's losing all this energy. She's getting 20% back, trying to get him 100%. And she's feeling really warped and out of balance. And so this is the reason why romantic energy is just different from spiritual energy. If it's shared, it has to be reciprocated. If it is not reciprocated, so both couples are near the 100% level, there will be no fulfillment. They'll be out of balance. And most relationships are out of balance. A lot of relationships that are out of balance, the people will not admit they're out of balance. Like you hear a lot of people say, me and my wife, we never argue. We never have an argument, ever. We are always talking, all this. People like that are often suppressing, and maybe they are out of balance, but they're pretending like their life is okay. Usually the couples that really have a good relationship do have a little bit of argument, release emotion, but in the process, the sharing is consummated. It's consummated by complete honesty. And this is another problem with the romantic energy is people think, if I share the romantic energy and nobody knows about it, well, nobody gets hurt. But what they don't realize is the spouse, the one that's depending on you to get energy in return, will feel it. And so it does affect him or her. But they just don't understand it. They can't explain it. The relationship gets out of balance. Communication begins to break down. And nobody knows why. Everybody, the person that gets the blame for it is usually the person that's most innocent in the situation. And so the romantic energy is different from the spiritual energy. In the spiritual energy, we can have a harem of a dozen secretaries or a dozen taxi drivers or whatever, and we can share them with our friends or wherever we want. And we feel good about doing this. I'm happy to share my secretary. I'm happy to share my computer programmer with you, whatever, you know. We're happy to share things on the higher than emotional level. Sharing there is good. And you can't really share too much. You can't really lose anything. When you share on the higher level, there's never loss in energy. But when you share on the emotional level, there is a loss of energy. So anyway, that's an interesting thing to contemplate. Somebody have a question?
Oh, yeah, Brian does.
No, I don't. No, I
Yes, he
don't.
does.
No, I don't.
Yeah, Brian was chewing me out because he
No,
never saw him back there with
Melvin
his
was just
hand up.
running a test to see if you,
So we're-
you noticed that she was raising her hand. I don't have a question.
Okay, second point we made is that you can fall in love with anyone. In other words, you can pull energy out of anyone if they're willing to give it. All you have to do is have a willingness of sharing energy, and you can be a soulmate with anybody in the universe if there's a willingness on both sides to cooperate. Now, you can take somebody that you just met. Andy is in love with a beautiful woman back home, but if he decides that Lorraine over here, oh man, she's hot, and lets down all the barriers, forgets completely about his wife, and lets down all the barriers, all of a sudden Lorraine is, wow, she's really something. Oh man. Because if you let down the barriers and Lorraine shares with you and you share with her, maybe we better edit this out when we give it to your wife, by the way. But if you share with her and she shares with you, then, boy, it feels really great. I mean, it would feel like no harm is done, except poor Belani, what's her name again? What? Belima, yeah. Poor Belima, she would be at home and she'd say, man, I'm picking up something strange. What's Andy up to? That's what she'd be thinking back home. And she may not even say it when you got home, because she would think, that's silly of me to be jealous, you know, because it's such a silly thing, you know, because Andy wouldn't do anything. But she would feel, she'd be pacing the floor and wondering, why am I picking this up? I just must be going crazy, you know. That's what people often have. But the point is that even that if you dropped all your attachments to anybody that you love romantically and immediately placed them on somebody new, and the other person is willing, and you overlook their personality, there would be, you'd feel just as much a soulmate with them as you would with anybody else. Now it helps a lot, like with me, Artie and I have a lot of things in common. We think alike on a lot of areas. We have a lot of the same interests. We like to kick back the same way. And that helps a lot. Of course, there's a lot of things she has to overlook from me. But But that helps a lot because you don't have as much to overlook. So when there is a little problem, you think, well, this problem's little compared to what I have to gain by overlooking this problem. But if you've got a lot of personality problems and you have a lot to overlook, then it's a lot harder. Then it takes almost a force of will to overlook the problems that can occur. But you can use that force of will to fall in love with anyone of opposite polarity and share romantic energy. So that's interesting. But the reason that we feel that a person is a soulmate is because when we meet them, they will often say such nice things about us that we can only see their souls, and we open up to them, and we have that falling in love feeling. The falling in love feeling is releasing all the attachments to the personality, clicking on the soul, and yielding to your opposite polarity.
Okay, let's say you've got this good-looking college girl. Thursday she goes out with Adam, on Friday she goes out with Ben, Saturday she goes out with Charlie. Each of those respective nights, they just hit it off great. There's all this romantic energy flowing. Thursday Adam feels great, and Friday Ben feels great, and Saturday Charlie feels great. You mean to tell me that on the off nights, these guys are going to somehow notice the difference, even though they're not even around her? They're not in her presence.
Well, for one thing, you rarely would go out with somebody one night, share romantic energy, and then go out with somebody else the next night and share a large amount of romantic energy again. Usually one or two people is involved at a time in that. Now what happens in just the dating game, the person may go out with 4 different people in 1 week and maybe share no romantic energy because they're just looking. If you're just looking, you can go on a date and share no romantic energy. You can even have sex and not share any romantic energy.
JJ!
I got a question. I do have a question.
Hey, JJ.
Yeah.
What it is, I've been having trouble formulating this question, okay? And that's why I bailed the first time. All right?
I was right.
When you talk about this spiritual and romantic love, okay, I got a problem with it, all right, understanding it from a male point of view, all right. I have an idea of what romantic love is, and you explained some of it.
Yeah.
I have an idea of what spiritual love is, but from women I've had explained when they have an orgasm that they have a for a great number of them have this spiritual experience, all right. I'm sorry, I don't have that spiritual experience. All right, so when you're talking about, I'll be serious here, you have this, I've heard out of body, I see God, I hear the name invoked of God, but I don't, yeah, it's cool, but it's not spiritual. It's what it's not just. I'm not talking about A1. It's more than
that recorded. You can measure a distance from the mic.
You need to get in touch with your feminine side.
So I have an idea. To me, spiritual love. I love a person's soul, and we say the song together, and there's good. But then there's this other part that they're having this spiritual experience, and I'm going, okay, all right. How is it that pardon?
That's a compliment to you.
Okay, but seriously for a moment, my idea was, and I know that the woman, has this experience that's far greater than mine, and I was hoping essentially to ride, ride the wave type of thing, all right? But I'm kind of having a hard time understanding. Do you have anything to add to or light to shed on this?
When the male and female are in perfect rapport, they can share each other's experiences. So if you tune into her, if she's having a spiritual experience, you can have it with her if you're sensitive enough. So, us men are kind of callous.
All right.
Women are more easy. They tune into us in that way easier than the male tunes into them. So the males just have to.
Yeah. What is it that I is there some exercise that I can do? Some tune-in thing? And, Yes, Larry, please help me out here.
JJ, there's an Egyptian technique, you can tweak it.
Tweak what?
Whatever.
JJ, it's up to you to tell me what he tweaks.
Somebody help me out here. I.
Larry's got something to say there.
I don't know how to tell you
Get the
how.
microphone.
Or your kids here, that's what.
I'm not about to write a dummy's guide to whatever you're asking, but I bear witness to you it's possible.
It is? Okay.
All right.
Why don't you just hold on to that, Larry?
All right, come on, help me out.
Pass it around.
Oh, I don't deny that. I'm just saying.
One thing you can do is, I didn't mean to have this free course on sex tonight, but for both of you to tune in to each other and visualize yourself in another person's body and imagine what the other person is feeling. And this exercise, and it's the focus of attention. And attention is the key word here. Put attention on the other person, and especially the man. The man needs to put his attention on the fulfillment of the woman. And if the woman is fulfilled, and if he is able to tune in to her feelings, then he gets that spiritual experience as a reward for tuning in.
What are you laughing about?
For tuning in. So anyway, but let's get back to our main point here.
Sorry, JJ, I couldn't resist. But.
No, that's a choice. I just wish we don't have it recorded. When I fix this, I can blow up the recording and I'll blow up your voice really loud so everybody can hear it. So anyway, the romantic energy is a different energy. It's kind of awkward to call one spiritual and one not spiritual. Because all is spiritual from a higher point of view, but there's two different, the main point is there's two different energies. One energy, sharing it is very tricky, the other one is sharing it is very easy, like sharing your lunch or your secretary or whatever. Ren, what you have to say?
Going back to what you originally said about percentages, what's your first key?
First key about what?
What's your first key?
First key about what?
Right here?
Yeah, right.
The first key. Let's see, so far we're about 3 things. Now, what was the first?
Decision?
Decision. And about the percentage of energy you willing to put in and the lack of it if you're sharing it with someone else,
Yeah.
And so what is the first key?
First key in sharing energy,
Well, from a point of view of integrity, what is the first key?
I mean, how to make it work?
How can remain?
Okay, let me cover a couple of things there.
It starts with you. It starts with that first key. When a person is involved and they say I do, okay, they're exercising the first key, right? Which is decision.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as a human being, what percentage is your mindset behind that decision?
Okay, that's a good point. In other words, there's more than other people that cause us to not have the 100%. When you first marry somebody, say you make that decision, you marry them, maybe you've been hurt several times in the past, so even though you're marrying this person, you're only giving them 70% of your romantic energy. You're holding 30% on reserve because you want leaving kind of a back door for yourself in case it doesn't work out. You don't want the full-blown hurt of giving your all in a relationship. Many people that way, few people give an absolute 100% at the time they're married. Has to kind of work into it over a period of learning to trust. It takes a lot of trust to give 100% of yourself. My theory is, my outlook has always been this: I might as well give 100% because you can only be hurt so much anyway. I mean, they can hurt you as much as they want and you will still survive. So you might as well risk everything and a chance to get everything. That's the only way you're going to get it. But normally you'll have maybe one person gives 70%, the other person gives 90%. Okay, so the person given the 90% is having a vacuum. He's having 20% of his energy bounce off into the universe. So she feels out of balance. And she knows he's not having an affair because he's not that great looking, and his best interest is driving his pickup around, going hunting with a dog, and so she knows he's not having an affair. She's not worried that way, but he's just not giving her everything she needs, and she can't quite figure it out or how to get it. And she maybe doesn't understand that he just has fears about giving everything, or maybe he feels that's not macho enough to give everything, or whatever. He has his reasons behind it. So there's a number of it's pretty complicated. There's a lot of things enter in that prevent an equal sharing. Then you'll have other relationships where maybe they both give 70% and they're content. But the relationship isn't really on fire because they're keeping 30% within themselves. They feel balanced, but they're the type that maybe like the yuppie couple have a house and dog and they don't argue much, yet their relationship's a little flat, but you know, they accept it. And so there's a balance there. But there's not the fire that they want. There's not the depth there could be. Maybe they don't even realize there could be more depth of emotional sharing. The ideal relationship, of course, is where both people in the relationship share 100%. Then there will be fire, there will be depth, there will be intensity of feeling, and there will be a lot of joy to be had in each other's company.
And self-awareness. The whole thing behind decision is being self-aware. If you're self-aware, and how many kids at 19 through 30 are self-aware enough to know that they're 100% behind the decision? When they say, I do.
What's age got to do?
Okay, this is the whole key to the whole thing. You know, it is being self-aware enough to know that when you make the decision, that's where it stands, right there. And the secretary will not be a problem.
Right, some people enter into it 60, 70% committed, rises up to 90, and may fall back down to 60 or 70 after they start seeing all the faults in the person has. Okay, we're going to do a little exercise to demonstrate this. We did it, I think, in one other gathering, I think in the co-gathering. And what we'll do is we will concentrate on sharing spiritual energy with each other, not emotional energy, that's too dangerous. But we're going to share spiritual energy, and what we're going to do is concentrate on looking beyond the personality, which should be easy to do because a lot of people here don't know the other person they're going to be talking about very good. Because you don't know the other person very good, it's easy to overlook anything that may be the matter with them because you don't know what's the matter with them. Now I know everything's the matter with Artie, so when I look at her, I will overlook everything that's the matter with her, which isn't very much. And see the Christ within her. Okay, come here. Yeah, please. Look at each other like this. Look in each other's eyes. Eyes are the window to the soul. I share my spiritual energy with you through the pure love of Christ. You and I are one.
I share my spiritual energy with the pure love of Christ. You and I are one.
And then give the other person a hug.
How about a soul?
What's the soul?
Oh,
At least a hug. Anything else you want to do is fine, as long long as it's printable.
Will you say the words again? I couldn't hear them. You don't have to say it to me, just to say it. What is it that you said?
Okay, I share my spiritual energy with you through the pure love of Christ. You and I are one. Okay. I share my spiritual energy with you through the pure love of Christ. You and I are one. Let's say it all together. I share my spiritual energy with you through the pure love of Christ. You and I are one. Okay. Now do that with everybody in the room. No, let's do it with 12 people, because there's too many here to do it with everybody. Pick 12 different people and do it with them. And then we'll meet back here. And concentrate on when you do this, think within yourself. You know, this person's probably got a lot of barriers, but I don't see her. I had a number of people ask me questions during the break about this, the energy. Does anybody have any other questions about it, as long as I've been answering them? When you looked in the other person's eyes, did you see something similar in everybody's eyes? Yeah. Who wants to comment on that? Yeah.
Well, we're all one anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, even though there's 30 or 40 people here, there's only one of us.
Okay.
So I always saw myself in other people's eyes.
That's a good point. He said he always sees himself in other people's eyes.
I mean, I saw the fear in some,
Yeah.
the uncomfortableness in others, the awkwardness, but I also saw the light.
Yeah, you see hope, you see worries, you see concern, you see love, you see desire to be accepted. You see a lot of things when you look in other people's eyes. And the only reason you can see them is because they've been in you at one time or another. Yeah, sure.
You know, it was really awkward at first. It's hard to get into the mode of doing vulnerable like that. My first reaction was, I want to go. I don't have to do this. I tend to emotionally just block myself out from people that way. You know, it's one thing to talk to someone, but it's another one to kind of get into a quasi-religious mode, and it's really awkward for me. But once I got into it, I was comfortable and enjoyed it, and enjoyed being able to have a reason to go to a lot of different people and have that brief moment. For me, I have the biggest connection with Barbara. I don't know if you would do that with everyone, but when we looked in each other's eyes, it's like the moment was there for an actual soul connection, where, you know, she was like, I was just, you know, kind of rushing through it almost with other people, but when I was with her, she said, wait a minute, I want to get one first. It's like, okay. So, you know, we just looked into each other's eyes for a while, and while we were doing that, it's like all of a sudden, you know, her spirit and my spirit, there was like this energy. It's like now there was a connectedness, and I felt that to a certain degree with everybody.
Yeah.
But it was really remarkable with her. I mean, were you doing that with everybody, or?
She was just zapping people, weren't you, Barbara?
I was having fun. No, great. How did they do you?
So the people that had the experience with Barbara, they got an idea what this thing is really all about.
Okay, who hasn't done it with Barbara yet? This is going to create a lot of imaginations going wild when they listen to this tape. Okay, Barbara, find somebody else. Larry, have you done it with her?
Yeah.
Okay,
You didn't tell me.
okay, James is going to do it with Barbara. Yeah. So let's see if James feels any blinding here or anything.
spiritual energy to ensure that.
And there's a little bit of a kick there.
That's good. I gotta pick the right man. I can see why. Did you see the way Barbara was looking at him? What was different about the way Barbara looked at him?
She loved him.
It was so sensual. It was sensual.
Okay, what? There's more than that. What else?
I just want to ask for a second.
We need a validation here.
You're gonna be pretty popular after that evening. Oh, Barbara.
I guess there's nothing sacred, is there?
JJ,
Yeah.
just an observation that I made. Okay, for those of you that have seen The Last Samurai, we'll throw a little Buddhism in here. Okay, remember when he's battling and the young boy teaches him that he's, your mind is here, your mind is there. Go to the place of no mind, where you empty your mind. And then he taps into that. That's what she does. When she meets your eyes, as I watched her, because I had the same experience, as I watched her with James, you could feel it. She went to that. The last person was gone. The next person was gone. The next moment, the next breath was gone. She went to that place that I strive in my meditation practice, that place of no mind. And that's why there's a connection, because she's in no mind. There's nothing else there except you.
What I noticed about her was that she seemed really focused. Whereas, and when you do this type of thing, you're like, oh, no, what's going on, Whereas she put a lot of focus on, and plus what you said too. And what you got to do to focus to be able to get to that place. But anyway, I think she put a lot of focus on it. From what I saw. That's why what these two guys spoke on as empire, I think.
I think she also invested. I felt an investment that she was investing in her way.
That's an interesting word. So you did it with perfectly? Let's get a cover thing. I did it with perfect. Yeah, teacher.
And then it's a kick.
We'll probably never see Barbara again.
I did with Barbara Malibu in 2004.
Manti.
Manti.
It seems to me that in my experience when I was looking at into somebody's eyes and trying to go through this experience, I noticed that I had to drop any barriers that I had to get anywhere. A lot of times in my experience, my life, I've experienced a lot of judgmental attitudes toward our beliefs and our thoughts and things. And it seems that if I were to look at somebody who had just negatively judged me or somehow negatively influenced me, the only way I could do that is to like you said, look past the personality and just drop the barriers and look at the soul in order to transfer any energy. I don't think you can transfer any energy, spiritual or romantic, until you can drop those barriers. That was my experience, is that in looking at people and when people look at me, it seemed that and watching other people, it seems that when they drop all barriers and are willing to give that love, there's more energy transferred, and that's what we saw. There's more energy was transferred because of the willingness to transfer that.
Right, now, both the spiritual and the emotional or romantic love to circulate takes the dropping of the barriers. If you have your feelings hurt, you may actually keep the romantic love, but the heck out with the spiritual love. You know, you still want them maybe, but you may have a problem with the spiritual love, or you may have a problem with both of them if your feelings are hurt. If your feelings are hurt, you must release those hurt feelings, communicate them, let them go so the energy can flow again. Now, if you pay attention, any relationship you've had, whether it be with your parents, your boss, your wife, your best friend, you'll notice that sometimes the energy is just flowing. Even like a macho thing like a football team, sometimes the energy just flows between the teammates as a brotherhood. And then sometimes it doesn't flow.